Apple waited 16 years to make a phone that literally bends in half. And now the iPhone Fold leaks just dropped and they're unhinged, literally, because Apple might be using liquid metal in the hinge. Liquid metal. That sounds like something Iron Man would sue over. But here's the twist. Apple didn't copy Samsung. They didn't rush. They didn't panic. They waited until foldables got good and then quietly designed something that might snap the entire category in half. And the craziest part, the screen crease drama you're expecting might not even be the main story. Stay with me, because the hinge decision at the end explains everything Apple's been doing for the last decade. Foldables have always felt like rich people prototypes. Cool in the store, stressful in real life. You touch one and immediately think, yeah, this will tie in my pocket. And Apple hates that feeling. Apple doesn't sell anxiety. Apple sells confidence. So the iPhone Fold isn't about being first. It's about being final, the phone that makes normal people say, okay, now it's ready. And that's why this leak matters, because it shows Apple didn't just redesign a phone. They redesigned the weakest part of every foldable ever made. Let's talk about the hinge, because Apple went full villain arc here. The leak claims Apple is using liquid metal for the folding mechanism, not aluminum, not steel, liquid metal. The stuff Apple's been hoarding patents for since 2010, like a dragon guarding treasure. Liquid metal doesn't have a crystal structure, which means it doesn't fatigue the same way normal metals do. Translation: less wobble, less wear, less why does my $2,000 phone feel loose energy. If this is real, this would be the first major Apple device to use liquid metal structurally. That's not a small decision. That's Apple saying, we are not doing hinge drama. And then there's the body, advanced titanium alloy, stronger, lighter, optimized specifically around the hinge stress point. Apple isn't chasing thin, they're chasing balance, because a foldable that feels heavy on one side is a nightmare in daily use. Screen sizes, classic book style, outer display at 5.49 inches, inner display at 7.76 inches. That's basically an iPad mini that folds into a phone and pretends it's not judging you for multitasking incorrectly. No notch, Touch ID, dual cameras, and an A20 chip quietly waiting to humiliate laptops. Here's where this gets sneaky good. A 4:3 inner display isn't about Netflix, it's about doing things, emails, split screen apps, editing, reading. Apple is optimizing this like an iPad, not a stretched phone. Imagine opening your phone on a plane and suddenly you're holding a mini workstation. No wobble, no flex panic, no crease screaming at you under sunlight. And because the outer screen is still phone-sized, you're not carrying a brick just to answer texts. That's the quiet genius here. Now let's address the Samsung elephant in the room. Yes, Samsung showed off that creaseless Mont Flex display at CES 2026. And yes, rumors briefly suggested Apple might use it. Plot twist: they're not. Samsung's Galaxy Z Fold 8 is likely getting the metal-backed version. Apple, ultra-thin glass. Different panel, different priorities. Apple doesn't demo unreleased tech publicly, ever. And according to industry sources, this is a deliberate divergence. Similar goal, different execution. ZDNet Korea backs this up, and honestly, it tracks. Apple would rather solve the crease their way than borrow Samsung's homework and change the font. Here's my spicy take. Apple doesn't care if this sells millions in year one. This is a trust reset. They want the first foldable you hand to your parents without fear. An unpopular opinion: Touch ID returning here makes sense. Face ID on foldables is awkward. Angles are weird. Hands move. Touch ID is fast, silent, and reliable. Apple choosing it here isn't regression. It's precision. Also, dual cameras, good. Foldables don't need DSLR cosplay. They need consistency. Now, reality check. This thing will be expensive. Like, don't ask the price, just nod slowly expensive. Manufacturing liquid metal at scale is hard. Ultra-thin glass is fragile, And Apple's perfectionism could delay this again if even one tolerance is off by a micron. And no, don't expect Samsung style experimental features. Apple will play it safe, which some people will hate loudly in all caps. But here's the verdict. If these leaks hold, the iPhone Fold won't be the flashiest foldable. It'll be the one that finally makes sense, the one that feels finished, the one Apple waited 16 years to release on purpose. Now I want to know, would you trust Apple with your first foldable, or is Samsung still the king here? Drop your take in the comments. If this helped, hit like. Subscribe if you want the next leak before everyone else, and trust me, this hinge story is just getting started. Peace out.